I don't believe in ghosts. Or I didn't anyway. That changed last November when I bought a mirror off Craigslist. Yeah, a mirror. The ad caught my eye because of the title, $50, Haunted Mirror Must Go. I appreciate a sense of humor, so I clicked on the ad. The listing was short. Large vintage mirror from estate sale. 1800s. May be cursed. Weird things keep happening. Wife wants it gone. $50. Pickup only. There was a picture of a tall, Victorian-style mirror, about 7 feet high, framed in carved black walnut, cracked a little at the corner, looked heavy, creepy, but honestly beautiful. I just moved into a loft and had this massive empty wall. $50 for a conversation piece? Why not? I texted the number. A guy named Greg responded almost instantly. If you want it, come tonight. He gave me an address on the edge of town, some rundown farmhouse. I grabbed a friend, Mike, to help me haul it. Greg didn't even try to sell it, just said, "Take it, please. Don't try to sell it. Don't give it away. Just don't let it stay too long." Mike and I exchanged a look and tried not to laugh. Little did we know. Back at my place, Mike helped me hang it on the wall near the stairs. The thing was heavier than hell. As soon as it was up, he stood back, looked at it, and said, "It's like it's watching you." We laughed. That was the last time I laughed around that mirror. The first night, I woke up at 3:14 a.m. to the sound of scratching, faint, steady, like fingernails on drywall. I sat up in bed and listened. It stopped. The next morning, I found a long gouge down the wall next to the mirror. I figured maybe we'd scratched it when hanging it up, and I ignored it. I started having dreams, always the same. I'm standing in front of the mirror, but my reflection doesn't move. It smiles when I don't. It waves when I don't. Its eyes are wrong, too wide, too bright, like something is inside me, looking out. One night, I woke up standing at the foot of the stairs, staring at it. I live alone. I didn't remember getting up. I felt watched. Every time I passed the mirror, I felt a pressure behind my eyes. Not pain, just this overwhelming feeling of being seen, judged. I covered it with a blanket. That night, I woke up to a sound like tearing cloth. I stumbled into the hallway and saw the blanket shredded on the floor. The mirror was uncovered, and there, written in fog on the glass, were the words, "You brought me here." I didn't breathe, didn't move, just stood there and stared at the message until it slowly faded. I called Greg the next day. No answer. I texted him, "I want to bring it back." I sent a dozen more messages. No reply. Things got worse. Objects moved. Lights flickered. I found photos on my phone I didn't take. Blurry images of myself sleeping. Once, I came home and found every mirror in my apartment shattered, except that one. I tried to get rid of it, took it off the wall and dragged it to the alley. 10 minutes later, I heard a loud crash from the backyard, ran outside, and there it was, sitting on my back porch, perfectly intact. In my dreams, my reflection opened its mouth and started screaming. The sound didn't come through, but its eyes bled black down its cheeks. Then it whispered, in my voice, "Help me." I tried smashing it, grabbed a hammer and swung as hard as I could. The glass cracked, but didn't shatter. Instead, the crack slowly healed right before my eyes, like time reversed itself. I dropped the hammer and ran. I left my own apartment for 3 days, stayed with Mike. I didn't tell him why. I knew how it sounded. I just needed space to think. When I came back, my apartment smelled like sulfur and rot. The mirror was hanging back on the wall, even though I had taken it down. There was a photo taped to it, a Polaroid, of me, sleeping. Only this time, I wasn't alone. In the background, just behind my shoulder, was a pale, dark-eyed figure, grinning. I lost my job a week later. Couldn't focus. People said I looked drained, like I'd aged 10 years. I barely slept. The mirror talked now, faint whispers at night. Things I couldn't quite understand, like chanting underwater. I dreamed. I stood in front of it and saw myself, only wrong, rotting, hollow-eyed. My mouth was sewn shut with wire, and behind me stood the figure again. I woke up bleeding from the lips. Something had sliced them open. There were small cuts in neat little X's across my mouth. I finally did what I should have done weeks ago. I listed the mirror on Craigslist. $50, antique mirror. Very old. Needs new home. No mention of hauntings, no warnings. A guy named Brian messaged within the hour. Picked it up that night. He didn't even ask questions. Said he liked unusual furniture. It's been a month and I've just seen a new listing on Craigslist. $50. Haunted mirror. Must go. It started with a Craigslist ad. Free upright freezer. Working. Just pick it up. The post was short, blurry photo included. Just a hulking white freezer sitting in a dim garage. I'd just moved into my first house. Money tight after the down payment. A working freezer for free? Perfect. I emailed the guy, someone named Rob, and he replied within minutes, giving me an address just outside of town. Said I had to come after dark, which was weird, but he claimed he worked strange hours and it was the only time he'd be home. Red flag, I know, but it's Craigslist. Weird as part of the package. I arrived a little after 9 p.m. The place looked abandoned. One of those cracked ranch-style homes with the porch light flickering like something out of a bad horror movie. Weeds up to my knees. No cars in the driveway. The whole neighborhood felt dead. I knocked. Nothing. Just as I turned to leave, the door creaked open on its own. "Rob?" I called. Still nothing. I should have left. Every nerve in my body screamed to leave, but I stepped in, telling myself the guy was just in the back and maybe didn't hear me. The inside smelled sour, like meat left too long in the sun. I kept calling his name. No answer. Then I heard it, a metallic click coming from the garage. I walked down the hallway, each step slower than the last, the air thick and warm like the house was holding its breath. When I opened the door to the garage, the bulb overhead flickered on. The freezer was there. It looked older than in the picture. Scratches on the side, some kind of brownish smear near the handle. The worst part? It was plugged in, humming, and the lid was open. I froze. No pun intended. The freezer wasn't empty. I expected to see frozen peas, a pizza maybe, but what I saw shocked me to the core. I thought it was a mannequin at first. Then the smell hit me. The body, or what was left of it, was curled in on itself. Frost clung to the hair, the eyelashes, the fingertips, which were all black. Skin pale, bluish, puckered like it had been submerged for too long. The face was twisted in this awful, silent scream, eyes wide open. That's when I heard the door to the garage click shut behind me. I turned fast. Rob was there. Middle-aged guy, maybe 40, thin and wiry with pale skin and deep shadowed eyes. He didn't look surprised to see me.
"You came alone?"
He asked. "What the hell is that?" I stammered, backing toward the wall. He shrugged.
"Leftovers."
I bolted for the door, slammed into it, locked. I turned back just in time to see him lunge. I don't remember how long we fought. I remember the feeling of his teeth on my arm and the cold metal of the wrench I grabbed off the tool bench. I hit him once, hard. He went down. I didn't stop to check if he was breathing. I found the key on a hook above the bench, unlocked the door, and ran. I didn't stop until I was in my car, my breath coming in jagged bursts, hands shaking so badly I dropped the keys twice before starting the engine. I didn't call the police. I couldn't. I had a record. Nothing violent, just some bad decisions in college. A possession charge. Enough that if they found me in that house, with him unconscious, and that body, I convinced myself he'd be arrested soon enough. Someone else would find the body and contact the police. But the story didn't end there. 3 days after the incident, a new Craigslist ad went up. Same city, same title, free upright freezer, working, just pick it up. Different address, different photo, same freezer. I clicked on the image, enlarged it, and stared. The handle, same scratches, same brown smear. Worse, when I zoomed in, I saw something inside, just the edge of a hand. The skin pale, puckered. I reported the post, flagged it. Nothing happened. The ad disappeared after a day. But every few weeks, a new one appears. Always the same freezer, always a different address. Sometimes in my town, sometimes further out. One even popped up 3 blocks from my house. I started obsessively checking Craigslist every night, searching for that ad. It became a compulsion, like if I didn't find it, something terrible would happen. I finally called the police, gave an anonymous tip. They said they'd look into it. I don't think they ever did. 2 weeks ago, someone rang my doorbell. No package, no delivery truck, just a laminated card tucked into my mailbox. White background, black text, free upright freezer, working, yours now. No contact number, no address, just a GPS coordinate. When I plugged it into my phone, my stomach dropped. It was my backyard. That night, I didn't sleep. I watched it from the upstairs window. At 2:37 a.m., something moved, and I knew it was coming to get me. I used to troll Craigslist's free section the way some people scroll through social media. You'd be amazed what people give away. TVs, beds, even working laptops. It was like urban treasure hunting. One day, I found this listing. Free antique chair, solid wood, slight damage. Must pick up today. Do not reupholster. The last line caught my attention. Do not reupholster? Weird. But the photo showed a beautiful Victorian-style wingback chair, oak frame, red velvet fabric, high back with ornate carvings. It was exactly the kind of vintage piece my girlfriend Lara would love. I could already imagine it in our reading nook. So I emailed. A man responded within minutes. No name. Just an address and the message. Chairs on the porch. First come, first served. Do not email again. I figured he was just one of those no-contact Craigslist types. Fair enough. I drove out to the address, which was this rundown old house in a forgotten suburb north of the city. Paint peeling off the siding. Overgrown lawn. The porch sagged like it was tired. And there it was, the chair. It looked even more stunning in person. The wood was worn but rich with detail. Faces, animals, vines, all flowing together in some kind of chaotic tangle. The fabric was slightly torn on the seat, but nothing major. I picked it up and tossed it in the back of my SUV. Drove home smiling. Lara loved it. Of course she did. We cleaned it off, placed it near the bookshelf, even added a little throw pillow. It became our favorite seat for reading or sipping wine. Then the dreams started. At first, it was just me. Every night for a week, I dreamed of the chair, but in a different room. A dim space, windowless, with damp stone walls. The chair sat in the center, lit by a single hanging bulb, and someone was always sitting in it. Not me, not anyone I knew, just a shape, human but wrong, tall and thin, too thin, its arms too long, its face shrouded in shadow, mouth open, always open, like it was screaming silently. Every night, it sat in that chair, and every night it turned its head toward me a little more. I stopped sleeping well. I'd wake up with a racing heart, drenched in sweat, but I didn't tell Lara. I didn't want to sound crazy. One evening, I came home and found her standing in front of the chair, staring at it. "You okay?" I asked. She turned slowly. "I think something's wrong with this chair." My stomach sank. "What do you mean?" She hesitated. "It's going to sound stupid, but I've been hearing whispers when I sit in it, just faint, like someone muttering behind me." I finally told her about my dreams. She nodded slowly. "I think we should get rid of it." We agreed to drop it off at the dump the next morning. That night was the worst. In my dream, the figure stood up. It rose from the chair, creaking, its limbs unfolding like they hadn't moved in centuries. Its head snapped toward me, mouth wide enough to split its face. I couldn't move, couldn't scream. It took a step towards me, then another. I could smell it, rotting wood, mildew. Then it reached for me. I woke up screaming. Lara wasn't in bed. I jumped up and ran through the apartment. She was in the living room, sitting in the chair, eyes wide open, unblinking, silent. "Lara?" I whispered. She didn't respond. I touched her shoulder. She was ice cold. Then she blinked and gasped, like she'd been drowning. She started crying, said she didn't know why she sat down, said she didn't even remember getting out of bed. We threw a blanket over the chair and shoved it into the hallway. I didn't care if the neighbors complained. We slept in shifts, afraid it would end up back inside. The next day, we loaded it into the SUV and drove it straight to the landfill. I told the guy at the gate I didn't even want the tax write-off. Just trash it. We watched a bulldozer push it into a pile of splintering wood and furniture. It crunched under the weight, fabric tearing, legs breaking. For the first time in days, I felt like I could breathe again. That night, Lara and I slept for 10 straight hours. A week passed, then 2. We were almost back to normal. And then I got a text from an unknown number. "Why did you break the rule?" I stared at it, heart thudding. No context, no name. I didn't reply. 10 minutes later, another text came through. "Do not reupholster." That night, in our living room, we found a single item on the floor. A brass tack, the kind used to fasten antique upholstery, and a small, thin sliver of red velvet. We don't own anything red. We moved 2 weeks later. Left the city. Haven't used Craigslist since. Sometimes, in the dead of night, I still hear a sound outside the window, like wood scraping slowly across the pavement. And I don't look, because I'm afraid I'll see it. That chair, waiting patiently for someone else to sit down. I just moved to Portland for a new job. The company put me up in a hotel for 2 weeks, which sounded great, until rent prices slapped me in the face like a wet newspaper. So I turned to Craigslist. Yeah, I know. Craigslist is the last refuge of the desperate and the deranged, but I was both. I found a listing that read, "Room for rent, $400 a month, no pets, no overnight guests, quiet preferred, basement unit, furnished, utilities included, no lease required." The price was too good to be true, but the photos looked clean, nicer than anything else in that price range. A twin bed, desk, mini fridge, a little window. Simple, but decent. I emailed the contact. Isaac, he said his name was. He replied almost instantly and offered to show me the place that night. No BS, no application, no background check, just cash and a handshake. The house was out in Lentz, tucked behind overgrown hedges, half hidden by thick trees. The porch light was out. I knocked. Isaac answered immediately. Thin guy, glasses, probably mid-40s. Smelled like Vicks, Vapo Rub, and wood polish. He didn't say much, just motioned me in and led me down creaky stairs to the basement. The room looked just like the photos. Clean. Smelled faintly of bleach and stale air. I handed him the first month's rent, $400 in cash. The first night was quiet, cold, but tolerable. I unpacked what little I had, locked the door, and tried to sleep. Around 3 a.m., I heard footsteps upstairs, slow, pacing back and forth. No big deal, it's a house, right? People walk, but they didn't stop. They kept going for hours. Long, shuffling steps. The rhythm was strange, like someone limping and dragging something behind them. I looked at the clock. 4:28 a.m. I finally dozed off. Next morning, I met Isaac in the kitchen. He was standing in front of the stove, holding a pan, unmoving. "Sleep okay?" he asked without turning. "Yeah," though I heard someone walking around a lot. He didn't respond, just stirred whatever was in the pan with an empty stare. That night, I locked my door again and stuffed towels under the cracks. The steps came back at 2:54 a.m., almost exactly the same time. This time they were accompanied by a low groaning sound, like weeping maybe, but muffled, distant. I sat up in bed, clutching the blanket, heart hammering. Then something new happened. The steps descended the stairs, slow, deliberate. The basement door at the top groaned open. I held my breath, then silence. I crept to the door and pressed my ear against it. Nothing. I turned the lock to make sure it was sealed, and that's when I saw it. A shadow underneath the door, not moving, just standing there, waiting. Morning came eventually. I confronted Isaac. "Were you up last night?" He blinked at me, slow. "I sleep with earplugs." His mouth twitched slightly. "No one else lives here." I left for the day, just to get out. Got lunch, wandered around Powell's, tried to forget the shadow, tried to convince myself it was all in my head. When I got back, there was a small cardboard box on my bed. No note. Inside was a single item, an old-fashioned brass key. I didn't know what it opened. Night 4. The sounds started earlier. 1:12 a.m. This time there was more than footsteps. There was something wet, like dragging a soaked towel across the floor. The moaning was louder, more urgent. I sat on the bed with the light on, clutching the key, then scratching, not from above, from inside the walls. Behind the headboard, fingernails scraped at the drywall in long, circular motions. My skin crawled. I backed into the corner, eyes darting. Then a whisper, right in my ear. It said,
"I've been waiting for you."
I ran upstairs, barefoot, key still clutched in my fist. Isaac was standing in the kitchen. Still, same spot, same blank stare. "There's something in the walls," I shouted. He didn't flinch. I reached for the front door, locked. "I want to leave." He finally turned to me and said, "You can't." I bolted back downstairs. My phone was dead, battery drained somehow. I packed my backpack and tried the basement window, painted shut. There was only one place I hadn't checked, a padlocked door in the far corner of the basement. I'd assumed it was a utility closet, but I realized that the key I was holding would fit that door. I unlocked it. Inside was a narrow tunnel, dirt walls, wooden beams. It stretched far into the dark, like a grave, and it reeked of rotting meat. I should have run, but I stepped inside. The walls were lined with etchings, symbols scratched into the dirt, candles melted down to stubs, bones. So many bones. And at the end, a single mirror stood propped against the wall. Except it wasn't a mirror. My reflection didn't move. It just stared at me, smiling. Then it whispered, same voice from the walls.
I've been waiting for you.
The reflection lifted its hand. I screamed, dropped the key, and ran. I don't remember getting out. I woke up on the curb across the street. The house looked the same, still, empty. I called the cops. They investigated, found nothing but Isaac, and he told them I'd been high, belligerent, and had broken into his basement. They believed him. Craigslist delisted the ad the next day, but I saw it again, posted under a new email. Same photos, still $400, still no lease, still quiet preferred. I was lucky that I escaped, but it's out there, waiting for the next tenant, which could be you.